If Iran can't halt Israel's government activities for even an hour, what could happen if Russia unleashes its full potential on the West, Jen?
Yeah, well, to discuss what dangers that we could be facing, let's bring in the Vice President and General Counsel for NetChoice, Carl Szabo. Carl, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
You know, we know that Russia has obviously been engaged in cyber warfare with the West for some time, and the expectation is that they will ramp it up as sanctions hit harder. But, you know, it doesn't seem like there's a full-scale cyber war going on right now. Carl, is it not coming, or is it just not happened yet?
You know, when Vladimir Putin unleashed his tanks and his missiles against the people of Ukraine, he expected a swift victory. And in doing so, he didn't want to disrupt all of the critical data and useful data that might be residing on those servers. So he didn't necessarily launch a full-scale cyber attack yet. Now, what he did and quickly saw was the people of Ukraine rose up against him and unleashed incredible pushback. So what we might see and what we are likely to see is an increased push by Vladimir Putin and the cyber hackers out of Russia to attack not only Ukrainian systems, but American systems as well, and any other NATO ally who is providing assistance.
Now, while all eyes are on Ukraine and Russia, we've seen a new report that alleges that 6 U.S. state governments were hacked by a China-backed group. While unfortunately this happens all of the time from China, we've seen this happen year after year, and the United States has really tried to put the safeguards in place, and the businesses have tried to put the safeguards in place to avoid these cyber attacks. I mean, what should the U.S. response be, and do we have the tools and the resources to be able to combat these sort of cyber attacks in the United States?
Yeah, you don't have to roll back the clocks that far to remember the attacks on the Colonial Pipeline that sent gas prices through the roofs. Well, at least we thought it was through the roofs back then, but today it looks silly. One of the things that America has done, and one of the reasons why I think we're kind of on our back heels right now, is we've given away our energy independence to the rest of the world. And what we are seeing both in D.C. and across the U.S. is an effort to give away our technological independence, a way to kind of turn to the tech industry and blame them for all the problems that we're seeing today. So what we really need to do is realize that America is the beacon and the envy of the rest of the world when it comes to technology. We need to harden our critical infrastructures, whether it's oil pipelines, whether it's our energy services, whether it's simply our U.S. government. Now, remember, we had an OPM hack, which was responsible for the unleashing of thousands of pieces of sensitive information about everything from military to people working in the White House. So the U.S. has a long road to hoe, but because we are the technological innovator of the world, I think we can make it happen.
And, you know, Carl, social media platforms, I mean, they're arguably conducting their own kind of cyber warfare in Russia. You've got Google, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok limiting or restricting access altogether. But it seems in their absence, it's opening doors for Russian propaganda and disinformation campaigns. It seems like it's exactly the wrong thing that big tech should be doing.
You know, I'm actually down here in Nashville, Tennessee, fighting against a piece of legislation that would have required Twitter and Facebook and other social media sites to keep up services like RT, services like Sputnik, even Al Jazeera, if we wanted to get rid of it. Now, one of the things that we are seeing Vladimir Putin try to do is try to copy what China has done. China has actually created a great firewall, as it is called, so they are able to control with data going in and out. But what we are also simultaneously seeing is American innovation coming to the rescue, where Vladimir Putin is trying to shut down avenues of internet and information. We're seeing technological services like Elon Musk's Earthlink, which is providing satellite-based internet. Simultaneously, we're seeing innovators out of California try to use shortwave radio to try and get information into and out of Russia. So while we are shutting off disinformation from that coming out of Vladimir Putin and state-run media, we're simultaneously providing a lifeline for people in Ukraine and Russia.
So I do have to scratch my head a little bit here, because I'm wondering why you have, this innovation that would come from big tech. Although Russia has censored, for example, Instagram and other, big tech companies, yet Twitter still has the president of Russia's Twitter account. It is actually still active. So we suspend President Trump's Twitter account, but the president of Russia still has his Twitter account active. How is that possible?
You know, sometimes when I see decisions like this, it frustrates me as a conservative. But at the same time, I do recognize that it is the right of a private business to decide what's best for its users and its customers. Now, one of the things that we have seen the tech industry do is take incredible steps to limit the spread of disinformation and misinformation out of Russia. And one of the things that I think this war has made abundantly clear is that tech is not more powerful than government. Vladimir Putin snapped his fingers and shut off Facebook and Instagram. And one of the things that the internet companies are trying to do is walk a tightrope between shutting off Vladimir Putin and providing a lifeline for the people of Russia and Ukraine to actually get the real information on what's actually happening in this war.
Well, I got to tell you, big tech might not be bigger than or more powerful than the government, but goodness gracious, I love it when Elon Musk is challenging Putin. Carl Szabo, thank you so much for your insight tonight.
Thank you.